we need a home. We need a place that's safe for us to park our trucks. The toughest thing is finding land that's zoned for truck parking. So this lot was zoned for industrial. The surrounding neighbors were all other industrial companies, trash companies, window manufacturing companies, type of neighbors that are not going to complain because they have trucks coming and going all the time as well. So we bought the land, we built the office, and we developed the truck parking lot. Our goal was to cover as much of the property with parking lot as we possibly could get permitted, knowing that we were going to have a certain number of spots for our trucks, but knowing that if we can build a proper truck parking lot here, we can provide a great service to other trucking companies who are in the same position as us, where they can't find good parking in the area. And we can also make some money along the way too, right? So we ended up building this parking lot where we have about 100 spots over there. We use about 15, 20 for ourselves, and we open it up for leasing to whoever and wanted to use it. Mainly, it was a lot of owner operators, small trucking companies, leasing 1 to 5 truck parking spots, and charging about $500 a month per parking spot, which I know might sound high, but in the Massachusetts area,
yeah, it's hard to find truck parking.
Yeah, it's very difficult. And honestly, it costs a lot of money to develop the property because we didn't want to cut corners, because we had known from being a trucking company, we already had a wish list in our head going into this, right? If we could develop our own place from scratch, what would we want our truck parking lot to look like? So number one is you want pavement, right? Not crushed gravel, not kind of paved, not sort of paved, fully asphalt paved, brand new pavement. Which I cannot say the same about most of the places we were parking up until that time. Striping, right? So it's just basics, right? Striping every single spot so there's no confusion about who's supposed to park in what spot, right? So if I'm John and I'm leasing spot number 7, that's my spot. And when I pull my truck out, I'm putting my car in that same spot. So now spot number 7 is John's and should only be John's. Number 3 is site lighting. So we surround the entire perimeter. I think we have about 33 light poles surrounding the parking lot, which is a huge expense on the development side. But having proper site lighting just avoids so many issues. Safety, it keeps out the riffraff, if you will, right? Because sometimes we have loaded trailers parking there, right? So you don't want, people when it's dark, then people, unwanted characters tend to lurk in areas that are dark, right? So just keeping that site lighting, and then putting properties, security cameras all over the lot. So having security cameras, having signs posted that the entire lot is being monitored on CCTV, and actually monitoring that. So that was big for us. So we, in less than 3 months, without involving any real estate brokers or anything, I leased out the entire lot. My father and I did, and the market told us that, there's a lot of demand here. So now we've decided we want to continue to do this in other areas. So we actually acquired a site directly across the street from that lot, which is an 11-acre site. And our plan is to develop that one for similar use for tractor trailer parking. And hope we're in the permitting process now. So if all goes according to plan, we should have that done in the next 6 months. And then we'll have another site that's open for renting truck parking.
No, I love it, man. That's amazing. And how do you like the truck parking business? Leasing out space to these guys. How do you like the business side of it?
It's good. I think.
Do you feel like it's profitable? Do you feel like it's something that, obviously you bought another lot, so obviously he's profitable, making money, but just tell me about it.
Yeah, I think it is profitable. It's good in that, any piece of real estate, and I don't care if it's a multifamily building or truck parking, where you can have a high volume of tenants, it provides more of a shield for you. Meaning, if I have 70 spots I'm leasing those spots to 50 different tenants. If 2 tenants leave, I'm not hurting, right? That I still have rent coming in from the other 48 tenants, versus single tenant leasing, can be a little bit more challenging, meaning you have one tenant who's leasing your entire lot and they decide to up and leave. Well, now you've just open yourself up to maybe having an empty lot. Now, fortunately, single tenant leasing can also be highly profitable. And, we've talked to and we've, certain companies who want to lease the entire lot, and, we're open to that if it's the right type of commitment and the numbers make sense. But I feel like having a high number of tenants in place, can be more of a shield. Now, I will say from an operation perspective, it is much more challenging and it requires a lot more manpower to manage a truck parking lot with 50 tenants versus a single tenant.
Right.
So for that reason, we've actually, we have, just to fast forward, recently leased out that one site we have to one tenant, and the site that we have across the street has some area that's already cleared. So we've been able to move over most of the tenants and move our trucks over there as well. So we just found that, it was the right move, and we found a tenant who's willing to take the entire lot, and the numbers made sense. So now we're hoping in opening the second lot that we can provide more parking to independent truck drivers.
That's amazing, man. What's the average cost per square foot out there in your area?
For
space, for land?
Per land, not so much by square foot. I mean, the way I look at it is you get about $1 million per buildable acre of industrial land.
Okay.
In the parts of Massachusetts that I'm looking at, which is staying where the major highways are, kind of within a 30, 40 mile radius of Boston. Now, Massachusetts is obviously a very small state. When you get the further west you get into Massachusetts, you have more rural land, farmland. There's a ton of space out there. But if you can't find any tenants who actually live in that area, who actually want to park there, then it's not worth anything to me.
Right. That's what I actually meant to say, per acre. That's what I didn't mean to say square foot.
Yeah. Okay. So it's about $1 million per buildable acre.
Okay.
Is what we're seeing in this area.
Good deal. And you actually get into our residential or commercial space as well?
Yes. Yeah. So we developed this truck parking lot, and, real estate's something that's always been of interest to myself, to my father as well. And, we decided we wanted to branch out and kind of grow Singh Realty Group and diversify, right? So we decided coming out of COVID that we wanted to do a residential project. So we decided to dive headfirst into a 28 unit townhouse complex, which I attribute to my father. Just, again, he's like the type of person who always thinks big and dreams big. Doesn't matter if his back is against the wall. Doesn't matter if the cards are stacked against him. He always impresses upon me the idea to just try for something that's bigger than what you think your mind can allow. So, we had done quite well during COVID. And at that point in time, this is when the freight market is at its highest. We didn't know the market was going to crash in trucking, right? So not knowing that, we just thought, you know what? Now, keep in mind, at this point, I had my entire family working the business. I had my three sisters, I had my wife, I had my parents. We're all, 100% in this trucking business. So we decided, you know what? As a business owner, it would be a wise thing for us to diversify and move into real estate as well. So we bought a piece of land that was fully permitted to build a 28 unit townhouse complex. A lot of people would say, why would you do that for your first residential project?
Why not?
And I asked myself the same question too. But we decided to jump headfirst into it. And, right now it's 7 buildings. Each building is 4 townhouses. So 28 units total. It's a phased development. So meaning we're building the first 3 buildings now. The first 2 are on the market as we speak. We actually just had the first open houses today and yesterday. And then as we have sales coming in, then we'll be building the next couple buildings and then the last 2 buildings after that. So it's been a big learning curve for us and for me in particular. I would say none of it would have been possible without having the right team. So in our case, in construction, the right team in my eyes is you need a general contractor who knows what they're doing, who has manpower on the ground, watching all the trades, all the subcontractors, making sure they know what they're doing. You need a project manager. in this case, because it was raw land and we had to bring in all the utilities from the street, we had to deal with the utility companies, we had to deal with the city, we had to deal with so many different entities. A lot of developers, like for example, if this was a single family home, we would have just managed the project ourselves, and I would have felt comfortable doing that. In this case, we did bring in an external project manager. We have a designer who's been able to come up with a great vision of what these units should look like, interior and exterior wise. We have a realtor who is also the designer, believe it or not, and he's a great multifaceted person I've known since childhood, and he's been on the ground and doing a lot more than what realtors typically do. So he's been a key part of our team. And then we have us, Singh Realty, and myself. I'm very involved. My father's very involved in the project, and kind of, you want to be honest with yourself about what you don't know, right? We know trucking, we know logistics, we know business, but we don't know about construction. So even like the decision to hire a project manager wasn't cheap, but it was a decision that ultimately saved us a lot of money in the long run, right? And allowed us to move forward with much more speed on this project, because we don't know what we don't know, right? And we can't get out of our own way if we're trying to do everything ourselves. So having that right team and being able to outsource certain parts of the operation has been key, but still being actively involved, meaning for a long period of time, we're having weekly meetings at our office for hours where we get the whole team together and we just talk through every single part of the project. And that allows us to make decisions that need to be made from a financial perspective or otherwise to be able to say, hey, let's stop doing that, or okay, let's pivot and do this. So it's been a great learning experience and a great way for us to learn about a different avenue of business, right? Same way we didn't know anything about trucking when we started, at least I didn't. So now I'm getting a chance to learn a little bit more about the real estate development side and how that all works. And, I thoroughly enjoy it. And, we've been able to hire some more people on our trucking side to be able to support the operation there. So now I'm able to balance my time a little bit, whereas I was doing everything in the beginning, and now I'm still involved, but, we have a lot more people involved now. My sisters, my wife are much more involved, where they can kind of carry that business, and I can focus my efforts a little bit on growing the real estate side of things.
All right, y'all, listen, I'm happy to announce that we finally launched our YouTube memberships. Listen, if you want to support Truck and Hustle for all the hard work that we've been doing over the past 5 years, this is where you need to be. As a part of our memberships, number one, you'll get exclusive access to all of our archive content. Number two, we'll be doing at least one live webinar with one of the guests or somebody else from our network that you love to continue to add value to you and your business. Third, we'll be having exclusive behind the scenes content that we shoot and doesn't, make the final cut. So make sure you go check it out. Get that subscription right now and join us, man. TNH forever. Let's go. All right, guys, if you love Truck and Hustle and you love the interviews and the information that we're providing week to week, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. All right, Hustle fam.